Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my GTA 5 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at yet another wonderful mod, this time in the form of the Speedometer Mod, which is being made by user LaFix, and what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is, well, pretty self-explanatory. Honestly, it adds in a speedometer for which you can use to see your speed. Yeah, it's right there in the name. Lovely, let's move on. Now, you may remember that not too long ago, we actually did have a gander at a similar mod in the form of the Need for Speed Gauges mod, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, back then when I made that video, this is actually the mod I wanted to look at because it is a lot more complex, a lot more customizable, and overall, I just like it a lot more. But the problem was, at the time, how you did all of the customization for this particular mod happened in an INI file outside of the game, which was very cumbersome to actually change your things. You had to make changes to a file, then load it into the game. It was not very convenient, but thankfully, since then, they have updated this mod to include an in-game mod menu. And so now I love it even more, and we're gonna, of course, have a look here. So let's jump into the car, because of course it is a speedometer mod, and to see a speedometer, you have to be in a vehicle. So let's just wait for it to fade in here, and there we go. You can see that we have an RPM gauge there, our gears showing right below the RPMs, and of course our miles per hour in the speedometer. And if we actually start moving, you can see that RPM gauge go up, and of course the gears changing and our speed going up as well. Working quite nicely, as of course you would hope a speedometer mod in a game would. And yeah, that's really that. And if that is all there was to this mod, it wouldn't be that impressive. But what does make this mod quite interesting is now that mod menu. So let's take a look at that and how you can change and customize this to your liking. So to open up the mod menu, you just use the F10 key, and there we are brought into the LaFix Speedo version 1.1.1 menu there, and you can navigate around it using the arrow keys and enter or escape to go back and forth. So let's start up here in general and just kind of go down the list of all the great features in here. Now the first, of course, is to turn the mod on or off. So if you don't want the gauges at all, you can just turn it off here for whatever reason you have. The next is reload images, which is quite interesting. Now, one of the things that this mod comes with in the files that go into your game directory are all the image files necessary for you to change the look of the speedometer that we have down there in the bottom right-hand corner. At the moment, all the images make your speedometer look how that gauge looks right there, but you can customize those images yourself to make it however you desire, and then you can reload them into the game if, say for instance, you bring them into the folder while the game is running. If you have it on, say, a second monitor, you would just click that, it would reload the images in, and then you would have the gauge customized to whatever image you like, which is quite nice. You can do the same here with the INI file, which is the old school way of changing things if you still like doing that, but of course the mod menu does all the same stuff. The next one is the menu key for turning on, or the key rather for turning on the menu, and it has to be one of the F keys, so you can just select whichever one you want there. And then the next thing here is the version and refresh time for this mod. Probably best not to change those things. Apparently that does affect things. So let's just leave them to defaulted. So heading back and going down to units, and this is where this mod gets really interesting. Now, if you remember the Need for Speed mod, as well as pretty much every gauge mod out there, you really only have the gauges when you're in a car or motorcycle. Now, there are a couple of gauge mods that are specifically for airplanes, but this one is good for everything. Any vehicle that moves, you have options for it to have a gauge, and we can set them up here to measure different types of measurements of speed. So for the bicycle, I have it set to kilometers per hour. Boats, you can set it to knots if you want, or miles per hour, kilometers per hour, etc. Cars, motorcycles, planes, helicopters, and trains, which is really cool because this also includes a gauge for the train if you have the Railroad Engineer mod installed as well, which is quite cool to see the compatibility between the two mods. Very, very nice little nod there. But yes, it's quite nice that you have the ability to customize the gauge on a vehicle type basis. So, like for this one, we have all the cars in miles per hour, the bicycles in kilometers per hour, etc. And I'll show the differences in them in a moment. That's why we're over by the beach, so we can jump on a jet ski real quick for the boat thing to see the knots. And yeah, it's just a quite nice little feature to be able to split it up to the different types of vehicles. Now, the next thing we go down to is, well, features. And starting up at the top, we have an option. Oh boy, that I have no idea what this one does. I have looked all around the forum posting for this mod, the site posting for this. I've tested this in-game, trying to turn it on to see what it does. I have no idea what higher speedos does in this game. Now, it's defaulted to off, so it may very well be something that's not quite implemented yet. If you know what this feature is, though, I'd love to hear it, because I'm confused at the moment, but it's defaulted to off, so let's just keep it off. Now, the next option is show RPM gauge, and so we can turn that one on or off, so if you don't want that little bubble down there. You can also turn on or off the gears, which is kind of cool, because you see that we bring in more of the RPM needle right there if we turn the gear off. We can turn on or off show damage, which is interesting. For this one, the show damage, it shows it in a very unique way. It's not like an actual gauge. Basically, the background there, that grayish background that we have in the speedometer, starts flashing red the more your engine gets damaged. So that's quite cool. You can turn that feature off, though, if you so desire. Now, the next one is this vertical speed. Now, this is only for airplanes and helicopters. It replaces the RPM gauge. So when you're in a helicopter, it'll show vertical speed rather than your RPMs, and then your lateral speed will of course be in the miles per hour, whatever you set it to on the main gauge. We can also turn it on so that it shows the gauges in first-person view, but that seems kind of pointless to me, because of course in first-person view you actually do have the gauges on the interiors of the vehicle, so I just use that. Then we can also turn on or off the HUD on a per vehicle type basis, so if you don't like the idea of having a gauge on the bicycle, you can turn that off, etc. It can be easily done right there, and for each of the different vehicle types, very nice and convenient. Now the next bit is optics, and this is where you can sort of customize the look of the gauges a bit. Now, this first option, use primary colors, is defaulted to on, and what that does is it leaves the colors of the gauge how they are displayed at the moment. You have that sort of white and red with the gray background, etc. If you turn this off, though, you can change these colors. So, say if we wanted to add more blue to the needle to make the needle more purple, we can do that. And there we go. It's kind of actually becoming kind of a neon pink now. But there we go. We can change the color of that. We can change the color of the frontage of the gauge. So we can do that. There we go. We can change the back color. Let's actually put that back. There we go, because it's more visible. The back color is quite nice. I actually like turning up the alpha back because it does make that back of the gauge look darker. I just like that. And then the damage intensity and frequency is how intense that flash of red is that I mentioned, and how frequently it does it. Let's actually damage the car real quick so you can in fact see that. Let's turn off the mod menu just in case it has to save all that, and let's just run into some things. So the engine gets a bit of damage, and boom! Yes, indeed, my friend. We're just kind of gonna ram into a few things here so we can get that flashing. I may need to get up a little bit more speed. Oh, no, we actually are getting a very quick, light flash. It may actually not be visible in YouTube. I don't know, so let's get this thing a bit more damaged. There we go. Oh yeah, it's a little bit more intense of a flash. There we go. You guys should be able to more easily see that red there. It's a bit longer of a flash, kind of fading in and out with a nice red. Let's just get it a little bit more damage, though, just to be good. There we go, bit more red. And so that is how this mod does show the damage to your vehicle. So the more red and the more intense and the more the frequency of the flashing occurs, the more your vehicle is damaged. So yes, that is how that works, and that is all the stuff in optics. Very cool. Now the next is the speed factor. This, I don't know why you'd want to change this. At 100%, this should pretty much calculate the speed of your vehicle how it should be accurately. But you can exaggerate your speed, or make it less exaggerated. So if we say for the car, well, actually, let's just sort of get up to speed here, and just barely moving our car. Let's get it up to, oh god, on the sand. Maybe reverse would work better. Yeah, reverse, we can reverse at about 35 miles per hour there. That seems pretty reasonable for the speed that we were going. Now, if we turn up the car speed factor, there we go, like that, it's going to be a lot faster, at least what it tells us on the gauge. So, yeah, there we go. It's showing it more like 65, which that is definitely not 65 miles per hour. So yeah, I don't know why you'd want to change this, but it is an option for, I don't know, maybe perhaps you're making a video and you want a more exaggerated speed showing on a speedometer. That is a possibility that you can do. Or if, say, you find a car that just doesn't feel right, you can adjust these to your heart's content. And again, it's by the different vehicle types, which is quite cool. And the last bit that we have in the menu is placement, which the first option on placement is where you want the second gauge. So that's either the RPMs or for the planes and helicopters, the vertical speed. And so you can either put that on the top or the side. Those are your options there. I like it on the bottom, but you know what? It's not that bad on the top there. You can also change the size of the HUD as well as your X and Y position to your heart's content. I like them in that position, so I'm not going to fuck around with that. But yes, that's going to be good, and that's all the different options in there. So let's actually show off what it looks like in some of the other vehicles. So, of course, this is what it looks like in the car. Let's actually go out to one of these jet skis here, and that should show us the knots. Alright, let's get on this. Oh, God, he fell off. Oh, come on. Get on. He is not wanting to get up. What are you doing, Franklin? There we go, finally. Jeez. Oh, boy. Alright, so now that we are on this jet ski, there we are. We are showing it in knots. Now, we do not have an RPM gauge for the boats, but we do have the knots there, which is showing. Now, I know nothing of the conversion factor for knots or miles per hour, so I have no idea if that is an accurate speed representation. But there we go, that is knots for our boats. Let's get back up here and show it off on bikes, where I have set it to the kilometers per hour. And for that, I have no idea where to find bicycles, so let's just spawn a BMX here real quick. Lovely. God, you gotta love the cheat menus. There we go, and we are now on a bicycle, and the gauge should be coming up here momentarily. There we go. We are showing kilometers per hour with still that weird pink needle of ours. And yeah, we have a bike. Now let's actually go and get a helicopter. Now I think it'll just be easier for us to teleport somewhere with a helicopter, so let's go down over here instead of me trying to find a helicopter in the mod menu. So let's just player teleport marker. Beautiful. There we go. And we don't have a helicopter. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Just my luck. All right, let's try the airport real quick, and if not, I'll pause the video for a moment and try and spawn in a helicopter, because it'll just take me a moment to actually find one in the trainer. I think it'd be easier just to teleport. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Okay, so, yes, we're going to have to find one in here then. Give me a moment, and I will find us a helicopter. Oh god, I don't even know where to start on this. Oh, actually, never mind, we're good. Buzzer's right here. Excellent, excellent. That did not take nearly as long. I should have just done that from the start. Alright, so let's get in here, and we'll have, instead of our RPMs, we will have our vertical speed. There we go. And so, let's just take off. I've forgot how to briefly for a moment there. It's been a while since I've flown in this game. I'm awful at it, so I don't typically do it. But there we are. So we have our vertical speed, which is quite cool to have that, and then also our lateral speed, which is very nice. And yeah, it's just cool to have the different gauges being customizable to how you like it on a per vehicle type basis. Oh, and overall, it's just fun. I really do like this Speedo mod. It's got good customization to it. The ability to, if you so desire, change up the actual images. You can change the color of the gauges. You can change the measurement type, for all of the different vehicles, which is cool. It works in every kind of vehicle, from land, air to sea. And it's just overall a really, really nicely well put together mod that I really enjoy. And if you would like to have a gander at it for yourself, you can of course take a look at it in the link on the description of the video and go and give it a try. And I definitely say to go and do it because, well, it's just a nice high-quality mod. But yes, that is going to be it for this episode today. I hope you all have enjoyed, and of course, that you do come back for the next, when we will hopefully be looking at yet another wonderful mod. But until that time, thank you for watching, my friends, and as always, have a good one. I'm going to go cause some havoc with this thing for a bit, and maybe mess around with the gauges a bit more. Later, folks!